What is up, guys? Neutral Man here, bringing you the game Doors. This will be another first look video on this game. It only came out, I think, a few days ago, about 3 days ago at the time of this recording. And right now, we'll start off by going over the basic menu and settings of this game. On the bottom, there are 5 options: play, load, settings, credits, and quitting. 4 of those you can obviously tell what it is just from looking at it, but the settings Now, I played this game a little bit beforehand, so I get the basic gist and feel of it, and I gotta say, the settings was more than lackluster. If you look at the settings right here, as you can tell, there's no arrow, so this is the only page you get. There is no sound options, very little graphics options, no control options, nothing at all. So you can't. I don't think it supports controllers. You gotta play with that, so that's unfortunate. And some of these, like Vision to Blur, I don't know what that is, because most other games that I've seen only have motion blur, so this is something else. I honestly have no idea. So this settings, I didn't think it was possible, was actually more lacking than the Planetara settings, I think. Because at least Planetara had some sort of a sound option. This game did not. I had to go into the volume mixer to manually turn it down, which was not pleasant at all. Seems like a lot of these newer indie games seem to be lacking a lot in the menus options. Hope they get that fixed. Now, once you got that out of the way, let's get into the actual main meat and core of the game. So, what I've gotten to figure is the main objective of Doors is you get a certain amount of portals, depending on what level you're on. As you progressively get higher, there's more portals, aka doors, for you to go through. And to choose what doors you want to go through, they're color coded, but the color coordination actually doesn't have anything to do with how you win the game. If you go through, sorry about this, guys. This part's kind of long. Once I get to the portals, I actually fully explain what's going on here. Give me a second here. This is asking longer than I thought. Okay, you can see up there some kind of whitened distance, correct. Each portal has text on it, and if you want to determine which portal has the correct text for you to survive and advance onto the next level, it would depend sorely on what is on the ground. So if you go look on the ground, it tells you like right here, exactly two doors are correct, 1 leads to bacon, 4 leads to death. And then you have to carefully read each statement. These statements are set in such a way that later on, if you are not fully paying attention to exactly what is happening, you will most likely die trying to get through. See, like, so for example here, like this, like a lot of doors contradict each other. For example, if you look here, the purple door to the red door leads to bacon. But if you look here, it says the yellow and purple doors are both incorrect by the green door. And this one just saying that they both lead to death. So this is interesting. I'm gonna say this one right here. Bam. See? You have to be able to do a lot of like self-deducing by yourself on all these questions and such, or you will suffer and die. This game, I guess that is like literally the main, like, this is the only real objective of the game. I just explained the entire thing to you. Now you might be thinking, Neutral, is this really worth the current, or I think $4 tag for this? And I have to say, absolutely it is. Now let me get into depth why exactly I think it's worth said $4. Now the basic concept is extremely simple, like I just explained. Read some puzzles, or they're like parables or something, go to certain portals, and then if you're correct, you advance to the next one. If not, you die. The reason why I think it's so worth it is because the game gets you to think, and there's many puzzles from what I've seen. And like I said, the maps change also, which is, I think, is a nice little touch. They honestly, the game producers didn't even have to really change the map if they didn't want to, because the map does not affect at all how you solve the puzzles. But like the changing amount of options and such that I see personally makes this game worth the money. Although the real negative to, like, a real good counter argument to what I just said would be the sense that, but Neutral, couldn't you just do process of elimination, which is completely true. If you want, like, let's say that blue, green, and yellow are incorrect, and you just got through each of these one at a time and died, there's unlimited retries, so you could just go straight to the red one at the 4th time and you'll be done. And that kind of defeats the purpose of like a puzzle, I sort of think. Because if you can just keep doing process of elimination by everything, which would take the longest time. But if you're just going for like you don't care how many times you die to complete the game, then it completely makes sense. And yeah, the ref is left, blah blah blah. And you just gotta kind of read these, and you gotta hope that you get the right one. So let's see here. Oh, I misread. See, and you die just because of that. And repeat, and you gotta walk down the little path and go through the puzzle. I guess this is the way of the game's way of punishing you. Just make you keep walking back and forth over and over again. But it's not that bad, honestly. And honestly, with all the negatives and positive I just said, I would have to give this game maybe a 7 out of 10. The -3 would mainly come from, I guess, the ability to, I mean, I guess 7 out of 10 would be, one of the points probably from how simplistic the idea of this game is. One of them obviously comes from the severe lacking settings, extremely lackluster settings. The last one, I guess, comes from like the puzzles just being like very simplistic in the sense that you could just do process of elimination. So glad. I mean, that was just a lucky guess, but I knew that the green door was incorrect, so now my chances were 33% instead of 25% chance of just getting it right after I'm reading. And thus, and this is, and these portals just, you know, just, oh, look, now they changed it. See, this, I mean, this is technically getting creative, I suppose, but it's not really. All they did was slightly change the color hues and make them different shapes, which isn't very creative, I think, in the sense. Also, I'm sorry if I'm just kind of going on a rambling here. This game is more complicated than the last game I reviewed, so it's a tad bit harder to review correctly, in my opinion. I want to give it like a fair review. I want to be critical, but I don't want to just completely stomp it into the ground without giving it a fair chance. So far, I think this game has been being alright. The positive 7 points I guess the game comes from is the sounds aren't too, like, ears raping, I guess, so to say. They don't hurt your ears. There's just occasional, like, ambient noise, like birds chirping or leaves rustling. The map aesthetics, they use very little to make it look decent, like you're isolated somewhere in the middle of nowhere, which is, I think, is a very nice thing. Another positive point, I guess, is the number of portals keep changing randomly depending on the level. It's not like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 3, 4, 5, 6, 4. It's like random back and forth, which I think is a kind of a confusing pattern, I suppose. But in the end, it's all about guessing and deducing. But hey, for $4, this game I think is honestly worth it, because I'm already clocking in nearly an hour of gameplay time on this, and it's with $4. I actually got this for free, so you know, this is quite a nice game, I honestly think. And see, you gotta be careful what you read, because if you read the wrong one, well, you still end up dying anyway, and it kind of screws you over, you know. Which is interesting. Now this level is a little different because different shapes and such. I'm sorry, I'm completely on a ramble here, but hope you guys enjoyed this review. I'm gonna stop before I continue on rambling like a gibberish weird hobo man, and I will see you guys next time.